And our first question comes from Robert Morales with Los Angeles Daily News.
Hello, everybody. How's it going, Peter?
How you doing, Robert?
I'm all right, man. Hey, Peter, in your mind right now as it stands, before this fight, where do you think you rank among the world's great middleweights?
I will place myself second behind Sergio Martinez. I've been calling Sergio Martinez out from day one when everybody didn't think I was a serious fighter. I will place myself number 2, only because I was willing to fight all the guys that Gennady Golovkin is fighting, Matthew Macklin. I was willing to fight Gennady Golovkin. But, you know, a lot of things and a lot of business hold back a lot of these things. But I just know that I'm going to fight hard wherever place I am to be number 1, be the number 1 middleweight in the United States and be the number 1 middleweight in the world.
Are you hopeful of, and not to look past Gabriel Rosado, but I'm going to ask you about him in a second because he's a tough dude, but are you hopeful of getting a chance to prove that at some point by unifying the titles with, with somebody like a Martinez or a Golovkin?
Of course. That's one of my dreams, to be a unified champion, and I reconstructed my goals after I won the title to say that that's the next mission, is to be a unified champion. So I only can take one day at a time, and Gabriel Rosado's in front of me. He's a very tough cookie to crack, and I'm going to make sure that I do everything it takes to go ahead and stay on my goal path.
Well, you kind of told me what you thought about Rosado, so let me ask you this, Peter. At what point in your career did you realize that you had something special going? And you are a terrific fighter, by the way.
Well, I could just say that, from the beginning, my dream was to always become a world champion. Once that happened, I knew it was like, okay, I accomplished what I really wanted. Now where I go from here? And that's when I started to notice that when you become a world champion, it becomes a special thing because you got little kids, telling them that they're inspired by you and they're not inspired to be a champion, but like lawyers and doctors and stuff like that, that I knew that was something special. So now I know I have a responsibility. So now what I do is just go out there and I work even harder to make sure that every time I go out and defend this belt, I'm defending it with all that pride, that honor, and all the kids that's watching.
Our next question is Ismail Abdullah with Beats Boxing Mayhem.
Good afternoon, everybody. This question is for Kid Chocolate. Earlier this week, you had an interview out where you said that basically you said that Gabe knows how to lose. And I thought that was an interesting comment because a lot of people, when you look at Rosado, he's known for his toughness. He's known for not quitting. So what have you seen in him to make you make a statement like that where you think that, when the going gets tough, he might fold in there in the ring with you?
I'm not saying that he's like a loser in spirit. I'm just saying as on stats and on paper, you know how to lose, meaning he has 6 losses still at the end of the day. I haven't had a taste of defeat. So me and his hunger is coming from a different place. His hunger will always fight from not wanting to lose again. My hunger is never to want to taste defeat. So when people think I was saying like he's not tough enough and he know how to lose, I mean in a way that only people that will have a thinking mind will be able to put that into perspective. I'm saying that with 6 losses on his records, if he ever got in a moment in a fight with me where he felt that feeling before, he can choose 2 ways. He can choose to fight on or he can choose to lose.
And, Gabe, I wanted to get your thoughts on that, but I also wanted to ask you, you said yesterday on Twitter that this fight is going to be a war. And we've seen in your last couple fights that you're very versatile. When you fought Jay Leon Love, you took the fight to him. When you fought Golovkin, you actually showed your counterpunching. So what about Kid Chocolate makes you think that this fight is going to be a war, the way you guys match up?
I think at the end of the day it's because, Kid, he has the right attitude. He doesn't have the quick mentality, and neither do I. I just have a different approach to this fight, man. It's my mindset is at a place that I don't think it's ever been in my whole career. I'm growing up, being smarter, and I just have a whole different mentality going into this fight. And I feel like this fight is all or nothing, and I'm willing to go through hell to win that title on the 26th. Like literally. I'm willing to go through whatever it takes to win that belt.
Perfect. Best of luck to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from John DeSanto with Philly Boxing. Our next question comes from Matt Breen with the Philadelphia.
Hey, Gabriel. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. I know you've been spending a lot of time with Bernard. How special is that for your career, and is there anything that stands out that he's been able to teach you over the past few years?
You know, Bernard is incredible, man. He's like I look at Bernard like family. And you know, it's a blessing to be around him. I definitely steal everything I see from him. I mean, I think it's made me a better fighter being around him. It's just a blessing, man. I think I wouldn't have gotten this far without Bernard mentoring me. So it's definitely a blessing.
And do you think that, you know, I know you haven't won your last two fights, but you're still getting a world title shot. Does that speak a lot for how much boxing fans want to see you fight?
Yeah, you know, I think with the Triple G fight, you know, it was a hard loss and where, you know, it hurt. But I think, you know, the fans, they just, you know, they respect the effort. They respect the fact that, you know, even though I was, you know, pretty much fighting the fight blind, I think, you know, they admire the fact that I didn't quit. And then, you know, with the Jamie Love fight, you know, everyone knows that I won that fight. So, you know, the fans spoke, they booed that night. And I'm glad that Showtime and Golden Boy and Kid Chocolate was giving me the chance to fight because, you know, they saw that I did win the last fight, even though they didn't give me the fight on that night. But, you know, the fans know who really won.
And that Golovkin fight being your first world title shot, is there a difference the second time around with your second world title shot? They were a little bit more focused and more calmed down in the situation?
Yeah, I'm a lot more focused. You know, I've changed some things in my lifestyle that weren't healthy. You know, I'm a young dude. I'm single. I was probably partying a little too much. I was probably, you know, taking it to the head. You know, sometimes, you know, you're on TV, you get some money, people know you, and, you know, you can kind of lose track. And I'm man enough to admit that. But, you know, at this point, you know, I've sat down and I've had that talk with myself where it's like, yo, God, it's all or nothing. Like, you either want to be an entertaining fighter or you want to be a world champion. And, you know, I had that talk with myself that it's time to be a world champion. So I'm doing whatever I have to do to fulfill that dream.
Gotcha. Thanks a lot, Gabe. Good luck.
And comes from Giandra LaBouffe with badculture.net.
Good morning, gentlemen. This question is for Gabe Rosado. After the conclusion of the Golovkin fight, you were interviewed and you mentioned that you considered yourself a real threat at 154, but after that you fought Leon Love at middleweight and now Kid Chocolate. Why move up in weight and chance when there's still opponents that are ripe and ready at 154?
We try to make a run for 54, but, you know, we weren't successful getting the fight for whatever reason. But, you know, I think weight is a mentality. I think, you know, you can make it be a factor or you can just say whatever. It's just a fight. And I'm not really looking at this fight like, you know, it's only 6 pounds. Not a big deal. I'm a big guy anyway. And at junior middleweight, I was always the bigger man. So it's not like I'm a small dude. If anything, me and Kid are probably about the same height. We're probably walking around at the same weight right now. So there's no disadvantage in this fight. It's an even fight as far as when it comes to size. And, you know, it is what it is. Things play out the way they play out. And it wasn't my time when I fought Triple G. But I feel like, you know, it's my time now.
Okay, thanks, Gabe. And then I have a question for Kid Chocolate. Until last night, the tone between the two of you has been very level, very respectful and quiet until it kind of blew up a little bit on Twitter last night. Was there something that you noticed that sparked that, or was it a little gamesmanship just to hype up the fight?
Well, you know, like I know Gabe, and personally, I don't have a problem with him at all. You know what I mean? But he's still going to try to come in and win my belt. He made comments about knocking me out. You know, those type of things I don't have to take lightly. You know, I'm going in there with the same mentality, and you know, when somebody was born with 2 fists and they became a fighter, you wasn't the last fighter that was born and bred. You know what I'm saying? So I only could take for what it is. You know, a lot of the internet stuff, you know, the fans get us involved and all that type of stuff is kind of like emotional for a fighter. But to have some guys saying what he's going to do to a person, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I don't have a problem with him. I know him. I will shake hands with him before the fight and then after the fight. But while the fight is going on, I'm just trying to lay hands on him because I ain't GGG. I'm a whole totally different cut breed, man. You know, like I am raw. I'm like straight off of the Colombian boats. I'm that raw. So when it comes to, you know, compare myself, I'm not matching nobody else's performance. And, you know, Gabe is fighting a totally different guy. And he said the fight is going to a knockout, and he's not going to the scorecard. I really honestly believe it, but I don't believe it's going to be me that's going to be the one that's taking the defeat as being knocked out. I just know that I've just been training very, very hard for this fight. I know what I'm able to do. I'm not comparing my performance to anybody. I'm not trying to match nobody's performance. I'm going to do Kid Chocolate. That's all I know how to do. And, you know, with my last 3 fights, if you don't, people count the last 2, but they don't count the last 3, or it's been 11 knockdowns. Everybody I touch, they have a different approach once I touch them, and it's not the same. And I'm praying for Gabe that he's able to go up there and put his best foot forward because that's all he can do. And when that's not enough, he's just going to have to shake hands and you're going to have to accept defeat because that's what I'm going to deliver.